Okay, work continues on the 66 Ventura here. As you can see, bumper's off. Look at all that rust. You got the floor out. Look at that laying there. Here, come on up. Began cutting all this rusty floor out. There it is. Kind of just bent right there. But yeah, I see all that rot, so I used the angle grinder, went ahead and cut it all out. I'm going to trim all them edges in there and into here. I'm going to grind all this. Got to still cut this up here, just up to where it's all bad. Look at that. Yeah, she's pretty rotted. These all got like that, so. But yeah, she's look at that right up there too. Right where that one right there, that rust spot was caused by the fuel tank brace. And you look at this other one, completely gone. Just completely rotted. But I've got the pieces to patch panel it in. But again, it's just pretty rotted. Had some frame repair done on the car before I got it, obviously. So right there, someone did some frame repair. And I'm going to go in there with the angle grinder and cut that in a little bit better before I rust proof everything. And the frame has to be completely scrubbed out of here and get all an old mount for the hanger for the exhaust. You can see there's another one right here they added. We can disregard that and make that usable again. There's where we're at on this. Lots of grinding and cutting and shaping, but it's all part of it. We want to restore it back. I mean, everything back there is real nice. Even most of the wheel housing looks pretty good. Just right there on that end. You see that? Let me zoom in. Right there. So, yeah. And there's other kinds of rust problems going on with this car that we'll get to as we need to do it, but yeah, that was fun doing this whole cutout. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put a chair in the middle, get this whole floor pan on here, set up a chair where I can actually comfortably cut all that out, grind it, make it as straight as I can. Again, I got these pieces right here. It's gonna take up this area. Same way on the other side here. So we're gonna cut away all that old rust. Got to go underneath it and get the what's remaining of the fuel tank brace, get that broken off there, grind that, get it prepped before we do any welding. Welding will come, but right now you got to prep. Okay, just to give you an idea how much rot is in this thing, look at all that. That came from this bottom panel, right here, all rotten, and there were mouse nests inside it. Here I've cut it all away, and I'm going to be replacing it. Found a donor one. So, look at all this. There's the new and old end brace, end frame. This is the old one. You know how crappy that thing is. It was dented right here. The bumper was hit right there. And you can see the real shape of a good one right there. See how it comes out kind of to a point and comes back down. Where this one, there's the dent, but it doesn't even match that. So that needed replaced. It's all rotten. And the ends were just completely rotted right off. Completely rotted off on the ends. There too. So all this junk you see on the ground, rust, nests. But yeah, what a mess, huh? There was no way this car was going to safely drive, you know. So we had to go ahead. Let me see if I can get a shot of inside there. I'm not sure if we're going to get it, but yeah, you can see this is the actual, right here, that's the trunk floor. It's rotted away, and we're going to cut all this away and replace it. And then here's the outer panel. But all of that, this, what it does is it comes down, and then there's an angle, and then they meet. And right where it met, that's where she rotted. Because all that nesting and stuff was in there just rotting it for years. She was in a field, so
And then all of this missing rotted frame, we're going to cut this, and this new one over here is going to go in there. And we'll patch where we need to, but yeah, pretty messed up and rotted. But yeah, nothing. Look at that. So all the braces and everything, we got donors for it. Took a lot of time sourcing it and finding it because you just can't find parts for these. Floor time, panels, patches, all that. All because all that garbage was, and that's literally a tenth of what I pulled out of there. That's the last bit. Once I pulled that bumper off and got that old piece off, a lot of it fell out then, but look at all that. So, the work continues. Here I'm trying to save these frames, or these floor braces for the fuel tank. Got these parts. These are actually for a Bonneville 65. Mine's a 66 Ventura. So they're a little long, but we'll cut them, make them shorter. Get to that when I get to that. But right now it's removing all the spot welds and then pulling them apart. As you can see here, getting that off. This is the old floor. They just cut these off. I'm going to save this piece right here because that's going to, from like there up, it's got to be saved. All this right here. And this will all be filled. All these are going to be repainting the floor anyway. But yeah, well, plenty of spot welds to fill. Whatever. I needed the piece. The steel's not out there. And these are all intact too. Great shape. So, be an improvement over the nothing that's there, right? Okay, well, I've kind of been reevaluating. I've got that floor pan right there, and when you look at it, you see all these indentations and stuff right here, and then you look down here, this is my original pan, pieces of it, and some others, but those indentations are far more deeper. And on this fabricated one, they're barely, and you look up even on the top, they're just barely dented in. They're not even correct. So what I did was I've actually been able to get pieces of different things along the way. Here, as you can see, this example, this piece right here, that's a tail panel underneath all that other stuff, but that's a tail panel for a 67 Catalina. And when you look over at this actual floor pan that I bought, it says trunk floor pan 65 to 68 Catalina Grand Prix and Ventura. Well, hopefully you're seeing that. All right, except if those years all work for what they think this pan is, because it's not accurate, right? Lots of little differences other than just the grooving. But so what I did was, I mentioned in earlier where I have these braces right here that are for the tank. And these long greenish looking pieces, those were attached to those. I broke the seams apart, spot welds apart, and those are going to be used because I need that very top right there and right there where it's rotted out in the car. And then this section right here in the middle, that's still good. That can be welded. I know it's on a weird angle, but that can be welded right back in. And then if you follow down the center, it's rotted right here. And I cut that section out, but if you just right now forget that and go to this piece right here, this was all part of that 67 Catalina tail piece that I had right here. And that needs replaced in the car. You see how it's got that sort of a hard bend right there? Well, it's supposed to have a curve. It's supposed to be gracefully curved in through there. So I'll have to modify that. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, let me see what I've got salvageable from all the old panels. Well, finding these right here with those other braces, that was a big find. because as it turns out, I can use it all the way. See where the pan is? These actually are too long, but they're accurate with where I'm going to need. And then I can simply tack weld them or butt weld them right to here, continuing from here. Then I'd have a complete all the way to there. And the same with this other one. So now this middle piece, I can cut away the edges, and this greenish piece, that can now take its place. Once it's all painted and uniformly welded and ground and everything, it'll look good. And then down over here, my original pieces, these came out of my car, and from that chalk line to here is all good. So I just only need to replace just this, which if you come up here, it's this area right here. So basically, if you look at this line right here to this little smiley face thing all the way over, that section right there is what I need to use off that floor pan. Same with the other one. So if you imagine just those two pieces being welded onto all this other, right here, and then any little areas where they meet, like this area is a little rough, well, I've got the sections right here. So I can make patches to just fill this little area right here, and here it's good. So fabricating it to fit this little area, I think is a better solution for my car to keep an originality look going for as much as I can in this case. But this was a big find right here, because that changed my whole thought process on, should I use this whole pan? Yeah, I could go ahead and put this pan in, and it would look all uniform, but it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. I mean, you look at all this other little stuff going on. All that. All this right here. Even into here. So I'm redoing my thought on this. And I'm just going to only go with replacing that, and maybe this area right here, and any other areas that I think I might need to take this and just use patches from it. It'll look nicer, ultimately. A lot more work, but I don't want anyone to look at this car and be like, oh no, that thing doesn't even look remotely close, right? And that's what they'll say if they see this. Okay, well, I got started here. Got the first piece of the floor in, and I got the seam right here, and got it all ground, cleaned up, got all the rust and everything off. Had to do this piece first so that I could start working on the back panel, and I'll show you here. Look at this major difference that this back panel right here is from the 67, and then the top is from the original. Let me go underneath here and show you how they meet. Okay, so you can see this piece right here, that's what was gone on the original car. It needed all the stuff for the hangers, for this. It's all welded except for just this area from, like, say there, just around these areas, because this I have to treat yet too. But what you got to do is you got to get the brace pounded, pressed up in there, and then this and this get tacked together then. But all that, this was all gone. So now this piece originally was connected to that piece on the tail piece I have that was the donor. So it's got the drain plug, so I got all that in there now. Even the curvature for the neck for the gas tank. So yeah, all that's nice now. And then you can see now I got this piece welded in on this side. Got the new bushing installed. It's tight, it's good. And then I got the frame, I tacked that on. I have to still eastwood all this. But as far as the other part of the frame, down further here, you can see underneath there, that's where it was repaired. And I cleaned it up with the die grinder, and you can see where it's patched. I mean, it is what it is. I did not do that repair, but it's sound. It's very strong. They at least welded it well. They used good gauge steel. So, but yeah, there you got it, right there. And then this top seam, it's rough in spots, but it's real strong still. It just had some surface rust. So, and what I ended up doing was I ended up just cutting it right here, just below the middle of this, bottom of this oval. This one I didn't touch. That's original. half of this one is the 67 and the 66. It's kind of funny, but we made it. But we had to get this curve in, and it wasn't quite exact, so I had to do some creative welding and patching and stuff, but I got it. And then on the tail end frame here, where we got it, what I have to do is this center on my year, I think it adjusts up and down, so I need to kind of, I'll wait to get the bumper mocked on it, and I think I'm going to have to put a slot in it so where it's kind of up and down, not left or right. So that is going to have to be done there, I think. But I'll know exactly where the whole location is, you know, get the bumper on. When the plate and the bracket for it's off, you've got the direct hole you can see, and I'll just, you know, put a hole there, pop it through, pull the bumper off, and then go in there and chisel up, repaint it, you know, all that, whatever. But I still got to actually get this side welded on. Right here. I'm not quite done yet. It's got a clamp on it, but yeah, you got to get that side in. But this bushing is not completely tightened. It's just hand tightened. The other one is, the left side is fully tightened up. And it's really strong now. So I'm very pleased with how things are turning out. I re-seam sealed in through here. Yeah, there's some seam seal mess-ups there, but you're never going to see any of this. This is the irony to it. This is all internal structure. But it's got to be strong. Otherwise, what are we doing this for, right? Once I get this all done, then I'll move into, I'm going to fix the wheel houses inside here, that piece down there. And these pieces will probably be the next section of the floor I do to continue it to this. And then I'll work on the corners. You know, it is what it is, right? But we were able to tack these right here into this. This is all good. It's a lot better than the hole. This was all holes in through here. You remember, all of this was just rot. But now it's, I got to clean it up a little bit better. I just quickly de-ate it. But yeah, so got a tail pan, you know, got the beginning of the trunk in. And okay, so now I got this here. I pulled this dent out. Actually, there were several dents. It was right in the center here. It was pushed in about 3 inches. It was caved in. This whole thing right here was pushed in, and you can see there's a body line down the center. Kind of comes to a point right here, and then right here it was pushed in really bad. And then when you look on the side, kind of comes to a point, then tapers back. And then this is curved right here and curved right here. Kind of tricky, but we got the shape, basic shape back. I pounded it all out. The Bondo you see here is just a filler, just a kind of a glazing. It's not real thick. It's just on there. When I go to block sand it out, put the radiuses and all the angles back where it needs to go, and hit it with some primer, I think it's going to look pretty darn good, and it won't be very thick in a lot of the areas. Just skim coat, really. So I just wanted to get the little imperfections out. I hammered it out as best I could, and I was amazed I was able to get it back to shape, but there it is. And again, I haven't sanded this. I just spread the Bondo. So we'll let this cure, and then tomorrow I'll probably come in here and just start blocking it out and getting the shape back. Hit it with some primer. I still got a trunk to put in, trunk floor and all that yet, so I'm not too concerned about making this a finished anything. Just I wanted the body work done on it since I'm back here working on all this. So anyway, there it is. But I got the shape back, and I think it's going to look pretty darn good once I get everything all nice. So, okay, well, got it in some flat black primer now, but the lines are back. Kind of comes to a slight point here and then tapers back. There's a body line down the center now that wasn't there. At least not anywhere in here. Got the key thing, you know, right now she's just flat black primer, but good enough. So we're going to leave it at this stage because we're going to do all kinds of other paint work and stuff. So right now just leave it in primer, at least it's protected. But I say that looks a whole lot better. Okay, well, here is my original. These are braces right here that go underneath the trunk floor. Here's my original one, rotted. The other one was completely disintegrated. So I made these, and these are patterned after, I believe, a 64, and mine's a 66, right? But all of this right here, this goes to the wheel house, which is all missing on my car, by the way, and I'm replacing. But You can see they're basically the same kind of thing. They just went with this design. It's kind of like a strange shape. On this one, what I did was, you see how there's just this curvature right here. Underneath the way the orientation of it, the way it goes underneath it, this curve right here is just to give clearance for the way the pattern is in the floor. But this will work, and you can't find these. If you want to make them, you got to make your own. Well, this one was easier of a design to make, and it fits a Catalina Bonneville, same thing. But basically, it's got the cage nut in there. This one, you know, completely just garbage. Look at that. Just trash. Not even, there's nothing to weld onto to repair it or any of that. So this guy bought a new cage nut assembly, welded it in, made myself, you know, basic. So this will be an improvement over nothing, right? As you see, I already started welding in right here, this first piece. This is my old, or this actually was the donor, 67, this whole bottom piece right here. That's original in my car, got it welded in. Once I get it painted and, you know, DA'd down. And then this was the piece that was rotted. You can see I start patching the wheelhouse and right in here, and that's where the brace kind of goes. Well, mine, this new design is going to go in the same spot right here, but it's going to be in this direction and not worry about touching that. I don't know. So yeah, we got the floor is starting to go in pieces, but it's going in. And again, this is just the beginning, welding it in, grinding my seams, all that fun stuff. So I'm starting the floor finally. Good. Well, a bit of time has gone by, and I did quite a bit of work to the car. Where we left off, we started putting the floor in, but now the whole floor is done. So, let's review now. If you recall, this was a piece that had to be used from that floor pan, and I told you I wanted to do the other side, which I did. Okay? So, back in through there, all of it's nice. So really where I'm at now is I just finished the welding part. And here I had to manufacture, fab all this up, get the lines right, got to grind it, but all this area right now I got to grind that yet, and then right here I got to grind that yet. And you can see I'm starting to put some fiberglass patch. So what I'm doing is I'm, wherever I block it out and I grind it and get the basic shape with the steel work, then I move on to getting it with some fiberglass, just for the extra strength, and it's better than just putting seam sealer there. And again, a little bit of Bondo, ever so slight, just to skim it. So let's review what we do here. Okay, so starting with the back panel, this was out of a 67 Catalina. These long pieces, including the braces underneath that I custom cut, 65 Bonneville. And this is original to the car. This piece here, just like same thing over here, original to the car. Again, the Bonneville piece, and in the very center, that's original to the car. And all that back there is untouched. It's just got surface rust that will be flap disc it all and get it after I get it all the metal grinding and everything. And then we'll go ahead and put some kind of a primer or a sealer, maybe just maybe a bed liner type thing before I put the final paint that's going to be like this spackle green that you can still get from Ames. So, but all the wheelhouses have been repaired, seam sealed. I still got a seam seal up back into there, same with over there. But, and the quarters need done. I know that, but I consider that outside a car right now. But they're pretty solid. Just the very bottom's got to be redone. But so we got the wheelhouse. The extensions are done. They're on the other side. I did do those too. So again, we did this back panel here. Did the repair on that. We did this right here. And then we did these ends. All of these bushings, including the floor mounts that I did make. There's one here, and then there's one on the other side there. All of them are torqued to 38 pounds, like the factory says, 40 pounds. I think that's about where I put them. But that's all sound. And listen, That sounds like a solid trunk floor. I can stand on all of this and it's not going anywhere. So I'm very pleased with that. Now it's just all cosmetic. Shape, grind, paint, right? But yeah, ton of work done. He stepped back. Aside from the different colors of everything, which we'll fix, very happy with it. And you can see I got my grinding wheels ready to go ahead and tackle the rest of it and get it ready for a finish of some kind in there just to get it. I mean, the car is going to get painted too, but we want to protect this. Any of these seams on the underneath, we'll put a fiberglass thing, block it, and then seam seal wherever I think I need to seam seal. And also undercoat the bottom too. But the braces for the fuel tank, great. They came out great. And I don't know if you noticed before, I had mentioned, but the deck lid was crushed when all this was crushed. So I repaired this dent. I just put a little bit of light filler on it, and just to get the shape back. But that body line had to come back right here. This was all crushed up to about here. The emblem had broken off. So, zoom back here. She's got the shape back. Very pleased with that. So little by little, she's coming back, getting the shape back. Let's see what the inside of this trunk looks like. Well, look at that. Put a basic coat of Eastwood in there. It's going to get a final coat. These little pieces are part of this assembly here, and up and through here goes in there, but I took it all apart to do the deck lid repair. But yeah, she's pretty much all nice and coated now uniformly, and this is all repaired. Trunk has got that echo again, but good and solid. I mean, again, that's not factory original, but it's, for me, there was no trunk floor at all, right? But yeah, came out nice. I mean, you can't even tell, again, that this right here is 67, fabbed. I made that. That's original. That's from the floor pan I got. That's original, and that's 67. You can't even tell them apart. So I'm very pleased with how it came out. Once it gets a coating of the trunk paint, then all this is all new. So yeah, the floor, aside from the aesthetic of painting it, is done. Can't argue with that, right?